They were writing verses of the Bible on the bombs, and they were putting crucifixes on the bombs that they were throwing on the Iraqis. If that was Muslims doing that,
this is Europe's history. So all they do is fight each other. That's all we do. The 100 Years' War, the World War One, World War II. This is what Europeans do. You know, the
Cold
idea
War?
that this is some unique thing, that this has never happened before, it's madness.
It's
the Americans were singing war hymns before they were going into battle. Now, can you imagine if they showed Muslims singing war songs or something going into battle with Christians? What they would have, how they would have portrayed that?
I don't know if I can mention the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, but
Yeah.
a lot of people are unaware that the Ukrainian people used to be part of the Russian Orthodox Church. They were one church. And because of political differences, the Ukrainian Orthodox believers in Christ Jesus, they separated from the Russian church. So this took on a religious aspect to it. And you would find many videos on TikTok and on Twitter of Ukrainian Orthodox priests blessing the tanks and the weapons, and the same thing on the side. People seem to be unaware that there is a significant religious aspect to this conflict. And the Orthodox Church is suffering because of this. I don't see Christians crying out for peace over this, for the reunion of the Russian Patriarchate and Ukrainian Patriarchate. Where is their cry for justice and peace? The churches seem to be happy to spread violence and angst towards each other, when I think it should be playing a role of reconciliation here. And I just don't see Christians enthusiastic about it. Unless it's ISIS, attacking Christians, Christian lives don't seem to matter unless it's Muslims doing the aggressive act, quote unquote Muslims. You have Christians fighting each other.
Yeah.
It's crazy out there, to be honest with you.
Do you know what I find really shocking about it all? About
What do
this
you feel?
Ukraine Russia is that, this is in Europe. This is in Europe, and it's like, this is Europe's history. So all they do is fight each other. That's all we do. The 100 Years' War, the World War One, World War II. This is what Europeans do. You know, the idea that this is some unique thing, that this has never happened before. It's madness.
It's like collective amnesia almost.
Honestly.
No, but also, Hamza, what's interesting is that if they're not fighting each other, then we Europeans are bombing somebody somewhere, right? Or Americans are either bomb. And the interesting thing here is this. We hear about this extremism, and this saying was being flaunted, and it was being sort of spread very regularly on radio, and all. Not all Muslims are terrorists, but all terrorists are Muslims. Of course, when you start digging and you realize that it's factually incorrect, and that there are significant portions of other societies that are non-Muslim, some that are Christian, for example, or in Sri Lanka or wherever it might be, where there were suicide bombings, where there were terrorist actions that were done that were clearly non-Muslim, right? And yet, like you said, there's this amnesia. They don't want to know about that. They don't want to talk about that. Can you imagine? I mean, in the Gulf War, the Americans were singing war hymns, collective gatherings, war hymns, by the priest, by the person who was there, the pastor or whatever, before they were going into battle. Now, can you imagine if they showed Muslims singing war songs or something going into battle with Christians? What they would have, how they would have portrayed that? And did you know, Ijaz, that they were writing? And you can go on Google, and you can Google this, by the way. This is definitely not a lie. They were writing verses of the Bible on the bombs, and they were putting crucifixes on the bombs that they were throwing on the Iraqis. Yeah. So you can imagine now, if that was Muslims doing that, and they would say, look, it's a religious war. And Blair, Bush, they all cited religion in their speeches. Certainly Bush did several times, right? But they would have totally taken that out of context. They would have made this some sort of a religious thing. But obviously, if you're if you're not Muslim, then of course it's nothing to do with religion. It's something completely outside of religion. So I do find that there's a lot of hypocrisy. There's a lot of hypocrisy in terms of how things are portrayed, how things are shown, how things are judged, for example.
You know what else was making me laugh? I mean, not laughing at the situation, just the double standard is, oh, they're doing war crimes. They've committed war crimes. What are you talking about? Look what is going on in Israel. Look when they attack Gaza and the phosphorus bombs they're using. Look at when Britain invaded Iraq and the killing of civilians. Was it shock and awe they called it? Indiscriminate killing is what they mean. Yeah, flipping shock the world. Look how we don't care who we're killing.
Yeah,
and
10 years of sanctions.
The moral police to say to Putin, "You're a bad man. You're a bad man, sir." Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And they're saying, "Oh, they could be called in front of the Hague and this, that." Why wasn't Blair brought in front of the Hague? Just the double standards is
exactly
nothing.
Exactly.